Jod is back and we are continuing our LPIC and discussing about mounting and unmounting file systems. On the previous video, I described what is mounting and we did some basic mountings and unmountings. But we still have a problem. We already discussed this. The problem is when you have a device, for example, here I have dev vdb1. This is an external or internal or whatever disk, NFS disk, network file system disk. It's mounting from somewhere remote or any other disk. This name is not unique. If I'm using it on my programs or I'm used to doing this, someone may detach this disk, add another disk, and then attach this disk again and want to use it. There is no guarantee that this will be dev vdb1. It may become vdh1 because now on the order of the connections, this is changed. This name is not unique. If you detach it, go buy another computer and connect it to your new computer. The new computer might have 3 internal disks and this will become, for example, D instead of B. This is one big problem because the names should be unique, especially if you are scripting something. This is why they invented labels. Old times. Even fat disks do have labels. You can name your disk something. Most people name it backup, their backup disk. You can name your USB disk Jody. Even once I put my phone number as my USB disk name, so if it's lost, someone will return it, and use it in one of the videos and everyone started calling me. Haha, I disposed that phone. No, technically I don't use phones, they are lame. I'm not into phones. Tablets are more fun. But what's the problem? Many people, again, will call their disks backup. And if you have a script which sees the disk backup, erase everything, backs the data there, you may erase someone else's backup. So UUIDs are even better than labels. Universal Unique Identifier. Something like this. If you're writing a program and you say, mount a file system with this UUID on, for example, /media new disk, you are sure that whenever you have this specific file system, you will find it. But if you are using this may change. But how you can check your UUIDs? You can check them with 2 commands. lsblk, which doesn't show UUIDs, but you can tell it lsblk with these options. I want to see this specific column. Practically you are saying lsblk options, add the column UUID. So now I'm adding the column UUID and it tells me that vdb1 has this volume ID. I can use this, and say copy this. Then I can say mount. Is it mounted? Yes, it's mounted. So I can say umount dev vdb1. You cannot, target is busy. I cannot mount it. Why? Because it's mounted. This was good. Because it is mounted on /temp testing. I try to umount it. Target is busy. Who is keeping it busy? I'm in that directory, so it cannot be unmounted. This is cool. I have to leave this directory to unmount it. Or I can say umount man umount. There are a couple of switches which help me. One is -f. -f will tell it force and unmount. Force and unmount. In case of unreachable NFS file system or whatever, force this unmount. Another better one is -L. A better one is -L, which is lazy mount, lazy unmount. Detach the file system from the file hierarchy now and clean up all references to this file system as soon as it is not busy anymore. This is what we normally use if we want to be able to unmount something now. So I can say unmount /temp testing. This doesn't work. Target is busy. I can say do it in a lazy fashion. So it is unmounted now, but I'm still there. I can create files, but as soon as I go up, it is not mounted anymore. If I go to testing, nothing there because this is unmounted. So now it is unmounted. I can say mount instead of dev vdb1, which might be changed in the future. I can say mount this specific UUID on /media new disk. Now it is mounted. ls media new disk. This is a better method because this is a universal name for this disk, as it doesn't change in the future. We were able to use labels too. You saw the lsblk, and also we have the block ID. Block ID directly shows IDs of all the blocks it finds. So for example, my VDB1 block ID is this. This is the block size, this is the type, and other stuff. It was also possible to run lsblk with capital O. In this case, it would show all available columns. And the last thing you should know about is fstab. Up to now, I was using the mount and unmount command. What? I was using mount and unmount command, umount command, to mount and unmount file systems manually. But we need some file systems all the time. We have to configure our Linux to mount them during the boot up. That's done via this file. etc configurations, fstab, file system tab. It works like this. It has different columns separated by tab or space. Tab is nicer. And it says, okay, mount this on this. This is the file system. These are the options. Include this in backup or not with the dump. And priority or order when doing a fs check on the file systems. So this is not being checked. This is not being included in the backup. Will be mounted here. This file system. This is the type of the file system. And these are the options. I can even add mine. I can say vi etc fstab and tell it, okay, I have dev vdb1 tab or space, mount it in media new disk tab. The file format is ext4 tab. Options. Options, I think I have a list of options here. Yes. Defaults is the defaults. Read, write, or read only. No auto, do not auto mount this. Users can mount this. They don't need root access to mount or unmount this. Exec, the files here can be executed or no exec. So you may say people can mount this file system, but they cannot run any file there. No A time, do not keep the last access time. This will increase your disk performance. And umask, you will see umask in later sessions. So I say easy, just do a read and write. And these are the options. I do not need a backup. I do not need a fs check when the system boots. Now, if you reboot the system, my lovely VDB1 will be mounted on /media new disk. Another good point. Now I can do a mount/dev vdb1. I do not need to tell it where to mount it because it already knows where to mount it. At the moment, this is mounted here. So I can say umount media new disk. And if I say mount this, it will be mounted in the place that etc fstab tells it. Much nicer. And at the end, you need to know about the systemd mount points. On the LPIC level, you just need to be aware that this exists. On the systemd, we saw this in the beginning of the course, you have different unit configuration files. The one which end in .mount do have the information for mounting of file system. So systemd can does this mounting and unmounting by itself. You can have some units and mount file system using systemd. This is another reason that some people do not love systemd, because systemd is doing more than init program should do. It is just saying, give everything to me. I want to manage everything in my own non-textual, textual formats. Anyway, for yourself, do some practice. Create, if you have a virtual machine, which you should have if you want to practice, create a new disk, add it via your virtual machine to your computer, to your virtual machine. I mean, for example, on the VBox or UTM or VirtualBox or UTM or whatever you use, create a new disk, add it to your machine, boot up your machine, check it with lsblk, try to fdisk it, create partitions there, format it, mount it, unmount it, add it to your fstab and these kind of stuff, and you will be a Linux guru. So have fun.